Yo, what's good everyone? Coach D here, coming with you with another YouTube video. Today, we're talking about the hams, baby. We're talking about some of the top exercises I like to do here at Johnny O's to really build up those hamstrings. As always, if you enjoy this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Really appreciate y'all for the weekly content that we have on the socials, and of course, those bi-weekly YouTube videos. But let's just jump right into this video. So as always, we gotta do a little bit of anatomy lesson here, so let's go ahead and break down the parts of the hamstring muscle. So as you can see, the hamstrings is a three-headed muscle. You got on the most lateral side, you have your biceps femoris. It actually has two heads that break it down, but usually it's just classified as one. That is the lateral aspect of your hamstring. Then you have the intermediate muscle, which is your semitendinosus, and then your most medial side, which is your semimembranosus. And so this muscle kind of originates at the bottom of your pelvis, or what we call your ischiotuberosity. That's kind of this rough portion of the bottom of your pelvic bone, and goes all the way down past your knee, attaching on your tibia and your fibula, your two shin bones. And now the hamstring has two main actions that we're going to focus on, which is going to be hip extension and knee flexion. Those are going to be our two important things that we're going to focus on, and that's going to dictate the exercise that we do, because that is ultimately how we're going to work this muscle and make it as big as possible. So let's jump into some of those exercises. Alright, so first exercise we're going to do, this is actually a new machine that we got at Johnny O's, is going to be the seated hamstring curl. Now, I really like this exercise. Again, you heard me say it 1,000 times. I'm going to keep saying it until the evidence proves otherwise, is that for hypertrophy, for building muscle size, you want to put the muscle at a very long muscle length. When we talked about with the hamstring is that it is a hip extender and a knee flexor. So to lengthen it at the hip joint, I can put myself into knee flexion, right? So by flexing my knee upward, or flexing my hip upward rather, I create a longer muscle length. And so by doing the seated hamstring curl, where I am in that flex hip position, I'm placing that hamstring at a longer muscle length, and then I can perform knee flexion, so that way I can get the most bang for my buck with doing a hamstring curl. Now, let me show you how to set it up. Alright, so this is actually a dual machine. This is a hamstring curl and a leg extension, but for most hamstring curls, they have a very similar setup. So basically what you want to make sure is the knee pad, where it's at around your ankles, and then the seat. Those are the three main adjustments you have to make to get yourself in the proper position to do this exercise. So for the feet pad, you want to make sure that it is roughly just above, a few inches above, like kind of the base of your ankle, right? So you don't want it hitting like kind of the bottom of your heel, but you also don't want it on the middle of your calf. You want it kind of at the base of your Achilles, or a few inches above kind of where the base of your ankle is. For the knee pad, I want it to be just above my knee joint, right? I don't want it sitting right on my kneecaps. I definitely don't want it below. I don't want it so high that it's super close up to my hips. I want it really just above my knees, kind of resting on the meat of my thighs. And lastly, for the seat, I want it pushed up far enough to where I can get the knee pad in position, or I can get the ankle or foot pad in position properly. Again, you can adjust each of these individually, but this is going to help you as well. Kind of another way to think about it is that your knees, or the back of your knees, should be just off, or just right resting on the pad here, to where you're in a comfortable position. Alright, so now that I'm all set up, big thing with the exercise, again, it's with everything, right? You gotta control the weight, right? Don't be going so fucking fast, especially on the eccentric portion, right? The negative, the lengthening part, that you can't control the movement. This is a very easy one where you can load a shit ton of weight, be really strong in the concentric, and then people do this thing where it's, right, just out of control. You don't want to do that. For muscle growth, I want to be controlled, especially during that eccentric, especially where I'm the most lengthened. So I'm in a position now where my legs are as straight as possible, right? I definitely don't want to be set up either where I have my legs in kind of this, like, you know, slightly flexed position, right? I don't want to be here. If your range of motion only allows that, meaning your hamstrings just aren't flexible enough yet, okay, that's fine. But if you have the ability to get to a straight leg position, that is where you want to start, because you're going to get the most bang for your buck when trying to build those hamstrings up. So I got my legs straight as possible, where I got a really nice stretch of my hamstrings. I got this nice and tight on my knees here. And now I'm holding down. I'm going to curl my heels down. Nice pause at the bottom. And then slow and controlled, at least 2 to 3 seconds, all the way back up. Trying my best not to rest at the top. Again, that nice contraction. And again, if you have to fling the weight, lower the weight. It's no big deal. We know with hypertrophy, the absolute weight doesn't really matter that much. What matters is, are you training relatively close to failure, right? 0 to 4 reps in reserve. And are you getting a nice full stretch with good tension throughout the movement? You see, those are nice controlled reps. I'm already feeling like an Instagram model, right? Start doing those shots where you kind of bend over and show the hamstrings. That's how you're going to build them, all right? All right, so next is going to be the Romanian deadlift. Really, any deadlift variation or any time you actively extend your hips, you're working the hamstring. So a lot of glute exercises like a hip thrust, a squat, an RDL, any deadlift is also going to work the hamstrings because they help with hip extension. So I like to do the Romanian deadlift or any version of kind of like a stiff-legged deadlift because again, you're really just focusing on that hinge movement, getting your hips back, right? Throwing it back, baby. And then actively going into hip extension to really target those hamstrings. I'm gonna be doing a barbell one here. You can do dumbbells, you can do other variations. I personally just like doing a barbell deadlift. I can control the weight a lot better. You can use straps easier. Obviously you can do it with dumbbells too, but I just find it a little bit easier to set up and a little easier to load if you do it with a barbell. So I got my weight set up here, right? Again, you can do an over-under grip, especially if it starts getting heavier, or you can use straps to help you out. I'm just gonna do a double overhand to make it simple to show y'all. So how this one works, I get my hands outside of my knees, right? I'm gonna unrack. And now the main focus here is I'm going to hinge my hips back, trying not to tap the bar on the ground so I keep myself as stable as possible. So I'm here, hinge my butt back, just a soft bend in the knees, getting that nice stretch at the bottom, and then standing up at the top. And again, remember this is a hinge, right? So I don't want to have a vertical chest. I want my hips to go back, keep my legs as straight as possible. So like right there, my hamstrings are tearing, dude. That feels really, really good stretch at the bottom. If I bend my knees too much, now it's a squat. Again, am I working my hamstrings there? Of course, because I'm extending my hips. That's not what I want. I want to get my hips back, nice and control, flat back, chest right here, and then stand up nice and tall. Last but not least, we got the prone machine hamstring curl. Similar to the seated hamstring curl, obviously I'm not in as much of a flex hip position, but because of this pad, it does put me in a little bit of flexion, so I'm still getting a little bit of that more elongated eccentric, which of course is what I'm looking for. Personally, this is my favorite hamstring machine. Again, the seated hamstring is probably the best one, but not every gym has it. And again, sometimes it can be hard to push weight. With this, because you can really lock yourself in with your upper body, I feel like you can get a nice, good control, really lock yourself in as long as you set it up properly. Also, from just like a user standpoint, it's a lot easier to set up if you're new to the gym, right? The seated hamstring curl, there's a lot going on. You're like, what the fuck is this? Am I coding? I don't know what the hell I'm doing because I have to adjust all these things. Most of the time for this machine, you have to adjust one thing, and that's the seat pad. Again, just like the pad outside, I kind of want it resting like a few inches above my ankle. I don't want it on my heel. I don't want it on the middle of my calf. I want it somewhere kind of in the middle. So this is a good setting for me where it's already set up. And now all you got to do is perform your reps. So what you do, you get your weight set up. I'm going to go ahead and lay down here, hold on to my handles. And there's a lot of ways you can hold on to the handles. You can either hold them here. For me, because I have long arms and I like to really get locked in, I'll even wrap my arms around so that I don't cheat it, right? Because it's very easy to just be here, be up, and kind of force yourself. I'm just gonna lock in just like this, holding on. Now I'm gonna curl my heel to my butt, big squeeze at the top, nice and slow, watching the plate stack, trying my best not to rest at the bottom, trying to get nice control all the way through. So give those a try. I promise you're gonna have some awesome gains for your hamstrings. And again, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate that from y'all. And again, you can check out the socials, check out my website. We still got merch up. We still got services that we can offer now that we're in 2024. And I hope to see y'all in the next one. Later.